So, for as part of this class, what I would like you to do is start doing something called morning pages. It's actually bought by Julia Cameron. So what morning pages are, obviously, they're pretty, you write them in the morning, kind of self-explanatory. Then I do them. I'm not consistently, every morning is the best. But when you first get up in the morning, you sit down at your journal and you write 3 pages. People are like, whoa, 3, just like that. That's the reaction. If you don't know what to write, you write 3 pages of I don't know what to write, I don't know what to write, I don't know what to write. Because the whole thing is the more you write, you start to tap into your subconscious as you write. Now these are my journals. So you can see journals can be anything. And what is I saw in Julia, these are all full, but this is the most beautiful one I have.
Yeah.
I hate writing in it, so I don't. The bookmark, that's as far as I've gotten in this particular journal. I do these a lot. I'm down to, I have 1 page left in this one, and then I already have another one purchased that I will start writing it in.
So you can start with a small notebook and get
bigger. The interesting thing is, I write I write my dreams. So I'll get up in the morning and I write what I can remember of a dream. I might write, I woke up this morning with a headache, and just start writing. If I'm really irritated, I will write that all out. Why I'm irritated, it's kind of like a mind dump. Just anything and everything that comes into your head, write it on the page. Don't think about it, don't second guess it. And it's something about writing it in longhand. Typing it on the computer does not work the same. But when you actually sit down and write it in longhand and
So you
write it
can't
out.
use dragon.
I'll bet
Yeah.
that helps the people that you live with and work with too.
100%. And that's
You
why
got
you
it
do
out
it in the
before you
morning.
came.
Yes, you get it out before you ever go on about your day.
Yeah.
It's all right there. Then don't read it. Just write it and walk away. After about 4 weeks, then go back and read it. You will be shocked at the answers you find in your pages, at the patterns that you start to see, at the connections you're going to start to make. It's like, oh, every time I woke up with a headache, this is what happened the day before. Every time I did this, this is what happened before. That's how I got the idea for having you guys help me create this class, was it showed up in the morning pages. It's like, no, you get, your friends come in, they'll help you, they're smart, we can work together, create something very powerful. So it's amazing because as your subconscious starts talking to you, you start even writing questions, and you'll find a page later where you answered every one of those questions because they're there. But the idea is you just keep writing. Don't think about it, just write. And again, if you can't think of anything, just write, I don't know what to write, I don't know what to write. Pretty soon it's like, oh, this is stupid, I don't know what to write. I can't believe I'm doing this stupid thing. I really think I should do the flower beds. The outside is so pretty. And next thing you know, you're writing something. And it's starting to fill in on its own. And I get to the end of my 3rd page when I thought I had nothing to write, and I'm writing really little and sideways and coming in because I have to finish this thought, because I have all of this stuff now is flowing. So that's, as part of this class, I would really like you to start doing morning pages. Even if you don't do them every single morning, do them as often as you can. Get a journal that you like to write in, and even if it's just a notebook. I have notebooks all over the place. I have, most of these, only one of these is this one on the bottom, and this one are the only 2 that aren't filled. I write all the time.
So does it have to be single or double spaced?
I knew that
Small
was,
notebook with
I had a
double
feeling that somebody's
space.
gonna ask that. It was a computer thing first, and then the double space.
Tries 5 fonts, single space.
No one will ever look at it but you. So, as long as it's longhand, 3 pages, that's all. There's not a lot of restriction. Just write. Just free write and just see what happens. I think you will be amazed when you go and see what starts to flow out of your head. And again, like I said, it's almost like a mind dump. just all of that stuff that's in there. Just get it out and get it down on the page. The interesting thing is the universe, your subconscious, your heart, whatever it is, starts talking through your pages, and it starts talking to you. And that's when things start to get really, really interesting, and you start to get things coming along and figuring them out. So that's an assignment. As part of the class, we're going to start to do that, writing those along. So we're going to do the Bunker Bean story, which you guys all have a copy of that. Some of you have heard that, those who have taken angel class. I've read that to you before. Because again, like we said, or I said, it has to do with what you believe. Why a lot of people don't change, why they don't move forward, it has a lot to do with their belief system. And Bunker Bean is really a big story, so we've just kind of broke it down to something smaller, but it really gives a good idea, and you guys can all relate to this as you listen to what's going on. Yes.
Oh, no, no, Chuck.
There you guys go. So,
You need those?
the mystic spoke with authority, and he is telling this guy, you are the reincarnated Napoleon Bonaparte, conqueror of the world. Bunker Bean stood in amazement. How could such a nobody, a loser, a zero, be such a mighty leader? Harry Leon Wilson, who in 1912 penned this novel, Bunker Bean, says it all started when Bunker Bean became an orphan as a small child. Alone and poor, always dressed in ragged clothes that hung loosely from his small frame, he was mocked and taunted by cruel, merciless children. Fear greeted him when he awoke in the morning and remained his constant companion until sleep put it to rest. He was afraid of everything: elevators, dogs, children, grown-ups, policemen, things, situations, the future, life, and even himself. One fateful day, a mystic moved into the cheap, rat-infested boarding house and rented the room next to Bunker Bean. A friendship developed during the next few weeks. The mystic's preoccupation with a book on reincarnation captured Bunker's imagination. He learned that his new friend believed that all people have had previous lives as someone else before being born into their present life. The more Bunker Bean thought about this new idea, the more he believed it. One evening after dinner, the mystic proclaimed that he, and he alone, could see into the past and could tell who Bunker Bean was in his past lives. A small pittance of money, which Bunker could ill afford, was delivered to the mystic for this declaration. Bunker followed the mystic to his room, and after a few minutes of incantations and trance-producing gyrations, his friend loudly proclaimed, "Bunker Bean, you are the reincarnated Napoleon Bonaparte, conqueror of the world." Timidly, Bunker Bean asked, "How could I, who am afraid even of my own shadow, have been the feared and courageous Napoleon?" The mystic explained that life goes in cycles. Sometimes you're born during the upper part of the cycle, and sometimes during the lower part. Napoleon lived in the upper part when he exhibited the qualities of courage, initiative, strength, determination, and power. Bunker Bean then learned that his present life was the result of being born during the lower part of that cycle. Depressed, he turned to leave, but the mystic yelled in a high-pitched voice, "Bunker, the lower part of the cycle is almost completed. You are now re-entering the upper part," when he exhibited the qualities of where you were in when you were Napoleon. The mystic assured Bunker that it would not be many days before he would feel a change taking place and know the prediction was true. Even as we speak, you're on your way to becoming courageous, determined, strong, self-reliant, fearless, and successful, whispered the mystic. The very thought that he was once Napoleon caused him to stand a little straighter. By the end of the first day, he could even detect hints of the promised change. Now that he thought about it, there was a certain majesty in his look. He began to take on a certain warrior air. When he thought of his true identity, Napoleon, he vibrated with a strange new power and determination. Bunker Bean spent every spare moment reading books about Napoleon. He hung the great general's pictures in the little dirty attic room where he could feast his mind upon his former self. He tried standing, thinking, and acting like Napoleon. The image never left his mind. Even when he was confronted with fear, he merely thought, how would Napoleon feel and what would he do? And the fear vanished. He discovered that Napoleon was a master strategist, winning his battles in his tent. Bunker decided that he too would plan, organize, and think out problems before facing them. He thought of every fear, obstacle, challenge, and danger he might face during the day and determined how Napoleon would react. Like Napoleon, he made sure nothing was left to chance. The large colored picture of Napoleon was a constant reminder to Bunker of the great power and strength hidden in his breast. He visualized himself leading and directing vast armies. He vividly imagined the smell of gunpowder, smoke, and blood. Something strange began to happen to Bunker Bean. He started acting like Napoleon. He forgot his timidity, his fears, his meager existence. Each challenge was faced with, how would Napoleon handle it? He began applying the same principles that made Napoleon great. His fellow workers and employer were amazed at the change in his personality. His boss gave him a more responsible position. Bunker Bean began to feel and be successful. Not only did Bunker Bean change, but he was amazed at the way people were reacting to him. They wanted to be near him and even follow him as they would a leader. Seeing the changes in these people suggests to him that they might know his real identity. Years went by, and Bunker Bean continued to rise in life and fortune. But one day, when he was pondering over the greatness as Napoleon, he thought, before Napoleon, who was I? He searched and found his old friend and inquired of him. That will cost you greatly, said the mystic. Money's no problem for me now, just tell me. The answer he received did not disappoint him. Before he was Napoleon, he was the greatest ruler of the world had ever known. He was Ramses, the mighty Egyptian pharaoh. Bunker learned that as Ramses, he was tall and handsome and dressed meticulously. Bunker hired a professional tailor to fit him in such a way as to enhance his physical characteristics. His new clothes made him feel like a king, and so he began to act like a king. He stood tall, expanded his chest, drew in his waist, stood erect. He worked to develop the physical and mental discipline of Ramses. He had already discovered that it takes a vivid mental image along with matching behavior to bring to the present the great qualities of the past. He was a king and must, therefore, do as kings do. Money, for example, was not an issue, because kings always have as much as they want. Bunker knew that when money was needed, it would be available, and it was. He was becoming a wealthy man. Bunker Bean was invited to direct large organizations. He was a leader because he thought like a leader and acted like a leader. Never again would he be afraid of life, policemen, mockery, or himself. He was the mighty Pharaoh of Egypt. He was born to be a king. His destiny was to rule, and so he would do those things that characterized greatness. The mental image grew stronger. With each passing day, and in direct proportion, strength, vitality, and excitement of love for life surged through his veins. Not only had he been the courageous, mighty Napoleon, but also the strong, calm, and powerful Ramses. He was a combination of them both. He thought courage at night and awoke in the morning with a giant's strength. His visualization poured the nutrients into his personality to mold and fashion a king and a conqueror. But one morning, tragedy entered Bunker Bean's life. Tragedy that neither Napoleon nor Ramses could combat. He discovered that his mystic friend was a fake, a con artist. There really was no such thing as reincarnation. He really hadn't been Napoleon or Ramses. He really was nothing more than his weak, timid, fearful, insecure self. Bunker Bean was a beaten man for only a few moments. Then, as if by revelation, he thought, when I believed myself to be a king, others reacted as if I were a king. When I believed myself to be weak and timid, others reacted as if I were weak and timid. A new and inspiring truth now dawned upon him. I can be anything I can imagine and visualize in my mind. During the years he had believed himself to be the reincarnated Napoleon and Ramses, he had accumulated great wealth and position, yet no one had known about his belief except his mystic friend. He had gained all by believing that he could do it. He believed in himself and in his dreams. Ramses and Napoleon were only crude bits of scaffolding on which he had climbed to success. Bunker Bean had discovered these great truths. Every man is born a king. Every man is born to riches. Every man is born to greatness. To believe is all that matters. And that's how powerful your beliefs can be. They can help you or they can hinder you. It all depends on what you believe in and how strongly you believe in it. So we're going to really look into belief systems. So again, your belief system either moves you forward or it holds you back. Sometimes you aren't even aware that you hold the beliefs that you do. It's so far back in your mind, you've lived it for so long that you don't even realize it is a belief system, that it's something that you picked up along. So understanding what you believe about yourself is actually a crucial part of moving forward and claiming your birthright. And your birthright is to live in happiness and joy and living your passion and helping people. That's your birthright. So, when I said no, I realized I had some belief systems that had to change. Until I changed them, I really couldn't move any further forward than I already was. So the first belief system I needed to change was a belief that I couldn't get better. I had been told that by 3 different doctors. I had been told that I had an incurable disease. It was going to get worse. Within 5 years, I would be in a wheelchair. And that unless I hit this hard and heavy now, with as many drugs as I possibly could, I would never get better. That's exactly what I did. I hit it hard and heavy with all kinds of drugs. And that's what got me sitting in the orthopedics chair when I decided to change. I had decided right then and there that I can get better. I can do this. I can go out, I can lift weights, I can be this different person, I can start to walk. I started to run. Had another, when I tore my meniscus in 3 places, but that was from running. That's a whole different thing. That was from something that I thought I could never do. But it all started with changing a belief system. I had to realize I could get better before I could start getting better. As long as I thought there was no hope for me, I was never going to move from where I was right then. I would always be where I was at. So that was a belief system that I needed to change. My second belief system was one that I really struggled with. And I had the hardest time with this. And it had to do with my religious upbringing by being a Baptist. Old Testament God is really a mean guy. Let's face it, he is mean. If he can take the Pharaoh's first son, if he can turn the Nile into blood, if he can turn people into pillar of salt just for looking back, what's he going to do with somebody that has a baby at 16? I was a good girl. I mean, everything I did, I followed the rules. Even now, I get kind of panicky if somebody's not following the rules because,
Stay in line.
yeah, it's like you gotta. I know. I said you can't go up there. They're gonna think you're cutting them. But I just rolls and slices. But because the rules are the rules, and I'm so afraid of breaking the rules because you're punished. Now, having a child when you're a junior in high school as an unwed mother, that's a pretty big one, and I didn't even realize how hard I was holding on to that belief that I was being punished for my sins, that I actually deserved to be as sick as I was. I had to let that go. I have clients that still come in that have MS, and it breaks my heart when I hear them sit on my table and they're getting worse. They feel beautiful when they leave. I give them Reiki, they smile, they get up, they feel so good. And then I get a call the next day, they can't maintain it, but they've told me, well, I lived in sin for however many years. I know I really deserve to be this sick. I can't change that. That's something they have to change. When it comes to a belief system, I can help you. I can try to guide you, but the only one that can ever change your belief system is you. It boils down to that. So as much as you want, when you start to look and you say, okay, what is it? Why can't I move from here? Really start digging into what it is that you really, truly believe. And you have to be honest. Again, if you can't be honest with yourself, how can you be honest with anybody else? The one person you should never lie to is yourself. You have to face those truths. That was a hard truth for me. That was a very, very hard truth for me to actually realize that. And to then have to admit it. Admitting it to you guys is very difficult for me too. But it wasn't, I didn't actually put that one together as clearly until I heard it reflected back to me from my own clients. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. That explains a whole lot right there. that I couldn't. I had myself stuck right there. So a lot of it is really understanding what you believe. Deep down inside, in the dead of night, when nobody else is looking over you, what is it that you believe? Because you're the only one that can change those beliefs. And you can change them. It's always possible to change a belief. So first, understanding a belief that's keeping you from the life that you want to live is a very, very powerful thing. Figuring it out. And it's not easy, but you can do it. You just got to start digging. Morning pages, they will start to give you clues. They will start to give you a little insight to some of the things you believe. As you're reading it through, you're like, oh, was that me that really said that? Do I really think that? Why do I think that? What caused me to think that? So you can really start to dig and find out who you are. Letting go or changing this belief is a process. But it's a process that we can all do. We can all accomplish. As long as you're here in this class, you're never alone. As long as we're working with a group, you're never alone. You're the one that has to do the changing, that has to do it, but you don't have to do it alone. You have people that are here that can think you can bounce ideas off, you can talk to, but you're not alone. And if that doesn't work, you have your higher power. You have that something. It's there. Tap into it as you journal. Find it, because you will find it. So all of the tools needed to go through this process are already available for you. Most people think they gotta go find something. It's already there, guys. You got it. It's inside of you. You were born with it. They're all there. You're stronger than you think you are. Everybody says, I can't do it. I'm here to tell you, you can do it. Everybody has that strength inside of them. If you really want to change, not because Joe Blow wants you to change, not because your kids think you should do something different. You can only do it because you want to do it. You're the only one that makes that choice. But you have the power to do it if you want it bad enough. You can do anything you want if you want it bad enough. And I'm here to tell you, you guys saw, I wasn't supposed to do half the things I have done. It was not even the doctors, and he still doesn't know what to do with me, but that's fine. He's not calling me to come see him, so I'm really happy with that too. I haven't seen him for 2 years now. No medicine since 2012, so things are pretty cool on my end of things. So pay attention to your self-talk. What are you telling yourself? The voice you believe more than any voice in this entire world is your own. It's your voice that you're listening to. The other day, when we had the little girl in here, she had different people telling her different things. What voice did she choose to listen to? Not the positive ones. She chose to repeat the negative ones. That's a choice. So think about that. Whenever you're thinking things and going over what people are saying, what are you thinking? What are you telling yourself? What are you reinforcing as it goes around in your head? You have a handout to fill out. It has some questions there. Use it and use your morning pages to help you discover the beliefs that you have been keeping stuck in a life that you don't want to live in, that you don't want to be a part of, and what you want to change. Really work things through. Turn things around. I tell you, you can do this. That it's 100% possible. You deserve to take care of yourself. A lot of people think they don't deserve, to have even the good things in life. You get sick because you're being punished. Well, you don't deserve it because you're not good enough. I'm telling you, you are. Everyone deserves that. Everyone deserves joy. Everyone deserves happiness. Everyone deserves a life of peace and passion. Remember, if your job is draining your energy, if you are in a relationship that needs help, if you desire to be at a different weight, to find what gets you up each morning, or to turn around a chronic illness, all of the steps are the same. They're all the same. And every single one of them starts with changing your belief about what you can do. It's the point where you say, no, I am not living my life this way anymore. It's going to change, and it's going to change starting today. And it's possible for every single person. So I want you to fill in the blanks here. If blank weren't such a problem for me, then I would. What would you do? Or you can do, if I didn't have, I would. And what would you do? So for me, as an example, if I didn't have multiple sclerosis, I could live a life of passion, doing what I love to do and helping people in the process. This would be my life's work, and I could be with my husband because I love him and not because I need him to take care of me. There's a difference. And for a lot of years, he was a caregiver. He was not there because because we loved each other. I mean, we did, but he really was a caregiver. And I had to also change that because I felt I couldn't exist without him. I needed him to take care of me because I was sick. So fill in those blanks. Put it somewhere where you can see it. Somewhere where you know that you can change your life.
Is that on here?
It's actually,
Because I can't see it well enough to copy it.
it's not on there, no. Let me see if it's at the end of the other thing. No, it's not, but I will send it to you guys, okay?
Okay.
I need my name reflected.
Yeah, I
Do
know.
you?
Yeah. I barely can read this. So far.
So, those are your assignments. You do have your sheet to fill out, and that's kind of self-explanatory. Pay attention to your self-talk. Write it in your journal. Write the things that you're thinking, again, a mind dump. Get it all out. You will be surprised when you go back and read it in a few weeks down the road. It's like, oh my God, did I really say that? Do I really think that? Is that really part of my thought processes? You'll be surprised. You'll also be surprised when it starts talking back to you and you start finding your own answers. So that's what I have for today. Go ahead.